Hi, welcome to session number 7 in our Getting Focused for Running and Fitness series. Today we're going to work on some mobility and some strength in our ankles, and these are going to be things that you can do around the house or throughout the day. First of all, Kim's going to show us some stuff that we can do on the floor or sort of low down, and then we're going to have a move around and show you how we can use walls and different bits of equipment to help us. But really what's important is, why we're doing it and to keep doing it consistently as well.
So yeah, ankles are something that's not very sexy or interesting, and I don't think we focus on them very much. I'm definitely guilty of that myself.
Not until they go wrong.
Which did happen to me, has happened to Jace. So yeah, until you have a sprain or a break or something, you kind of ignore them, and you might roll them every now and again and it pops and then it goes back and it feels fine. But the more you do that, obviously, the more you're weakening them. So it's important that we work on them. It's not the same as getting a deadlift PB or something like that. You're not going to feel much difference. Initially, it's only when you start running and you're able to run without rolling your ankle a lot that you're going to know that these things have helped. So it's important that we do a bit of ankle work because these things are really, really valuable in our running. So we looked at feet last time. These are the things that are helping your feet to do what they're supposed to do. So it's really important that your foot can roll, supinate and pronate as it's supposed to. People have kind of demonised those things, I think. But it's what your foot does, and that's the whole point of moving your foot. So it's not just going to go through one range of motion, especially when you're trail running. It's going to be moving all over the place. And your ankle supports that and helps it from snapping. So we need to be able to have that strength and that mobility to allow that to happen. What we don't want is to be so mobile that you're just toppling over all the time. So you don't want your ankle to be super, super bendy as if you were doing, gymnastics or something. That's probably wrong. I don't know about gymnastics, but that's my example. So you need a bit of stiffness. So we're not just talking about mobility today, we're talking about strength as well. So one very simple thing that you can do is just to practice sitting like this. So you're going to have full extension of your ankle when you're sitting like that. It's going to be completely flat against the floor. If that feels too much at first, you can I'm getting a little bit of cramp in my foot as this is happening. You can put your feet on the floor and kind of lower yourself down slowly. You can put something underneath your bum so that it doesn't feel as intense. It might feel quite tight on your quads when you're doing that. Practice as much as you can sitting in this position and just get comfortable doing that. My foot's cramping quite a bit, so I'm going to ask Jason to do the progression of this. Sitting between your feet. So sitting like that, getting comfortable like that. And then if you are comfortable like that, lower in between your feet. That's quite intense. It's quite an intense stretch on your quads, and it's quite harsh on your knees as well. So make sure you've got something under your knees and that you can get yourself out of it. Again, if that's too low, you can pop something underneath your bum. But this just gives you that full extension of your ankle that is really quite hard to get sometimes if you're quite stiff in your ankles. And that's not something we do very often. We don't walk around like that again unless we're a ballerina.
I wouldn't be able to do that first thing in the morning.
No.
I need to warm up and stretch. So I've been doing a few stretches like this and the other direction already today. So my routine in the morning does involve doing this quite a bit as well. But first thing in the morning it needs stretching out, or if I've done a hard session the day before as well, then it can get a little bit stiff. So this is quite a nice one. Once I've done it 2 or 3 times, then things do ease off.
Yeah. Another thing that you can do is put yourself in like a little froggy position. So a lot of cultures in the world actually can sit very comfortably like this, a lot more comfortably than I can and look right now. And that's got a massive flexion. It's a big angle in your ankle there. So the more you can practice low squats, and that doesn't have to be as part of an exercise regime. That's just every now and again, just see if you can do it. And start like this, start like a frog, and just move from side to side. So get that full foot down on the floor on one side, and then do it on the other side, and lift your heel up on the other. So just moving your ankle through those ranges of motion. Doesn't matter how wide your feet are apart. Just practice sitting like that and trying not to let your knees drop in. So use your arms to push them out. And there's quite a big flexion in your ankle there. Okay. So sitting like a frog.
Sitting like a frog. And then we can come to some stuff that we could do standing up. So that's more of the flexibility side of things. So now we want to start thinking about strengthening as well, and strengthening in the right way. So we're not going to do as much on the balance and proprioception today. I think that's a different session. This is more about building the actual strength in the ankle. So we're just standing up now and going to look at some things that we can do on our feet. So again, this is more about the strength, a little bit of proprioception as well. So one of the first things that we can do is just doing a normal calf raise with both feet. Okay, so we're coming up. If you need to hold on to something for stability, then do that, because you're better off getting this right and having that support than wobbling about and not quite getting it right. And we'll explain what we mean about getting it right. So when you're coming up on your toes, what you're trying to do is come up through your big toe. So letting yourself come up onto your big toes. So rather than your toes letting yourself roll out like that, because then all you're going to do is train your feet to do that. Why do we want to come up on our big toes? So a few reasons, but one of the main reasons is that that's obviously going to help keep everything in line, so your knees and your ankles and your feet, your hips, but also if you come up through your big toes, you've got a much longer lever, the length of your foot, to lift off with, rather than a shorter lever through your side of the foot. So that's going to help give you more lift and increase your stride length. That's also going to take effect when you're walking. So next time you're out walking, just try lifting off through your big toe, and you feel how much faster you can walk through your big toe. So almost do like spaceman walks, but just be conscious that you're not doing that. So first of all, that's what we can do, is lifting up through your big toes.
If you've been practicing your big toe isolation as well, that should feel a bit easier to do.
And we can do so many of these. You can do 10 of these and then maybe have a little rest and then do another 10 and then keep doing those. Once you've got the hang of those, if you're holding on to something, progress to just doing them without holding on to anything. And then the next stage is doing them single leg, calf raises. So again, holding on to something. And again, you'll probably start to feel that burn a little bit more down the side. So this is the stabilising muscle down the side. And this is what we want to strengthen. So we want to strengthen the side, the side of the calf. And that's really going to help stop that roll out. That's what we're trying to avoid. So we're trying to avoid doing this. Okay, everything wants to be coming up through the big toe. Okay.
I do this when I'm brushing my teeth, so if I'm feeling a bit wobbly, I'll hold on to the sink, but it gives you a timer as well. So if you've got an electric toothbrush, you've got 4 minutes every day if you're doing it twice a day, of doing these. And that's really, it's incidental, you don't even think about it because you're doing something else. But if you can hold on to the sink as well, it helps a lot, because this can distract from it a little bit.
And then the next stage is not using the chair. So you want to soften the knee a little bit when you're doing this. And I've not done these for a while, so I'll find them quite hard. But just coming up. And this is then going to start to really work your proprioception as well.
Proprioception, if you don't know what that means, that's just the way your foot feels the ground and the way it responds to the ground underneath it.
Okay. So that's quite an easy one to do while we're just standing around or moving around the house. Okay, so we can use a wall for a few different exercises, but one of the really nice things I like to do, you can get your kids doing this as well, it's good fun, but is you come up against the wall, so you stand flat to any sort of flat wall, and then what you're trying to do is keeping your feet straight, so don't let your feet come out or go like that, so keeping them in line, rather than letting them do that, and they will want to creep out. keep them in line, then start off and then just try and lift up against the wall. Okay, and then you're just going to gradually move your toes closer and see how close to the wall you can get before you can't actually lift up anymore. And you'll get to a point when you'll be like, oh, I can't lift up, and you're not allowed to cheat and grab hold of anything. Okay, so hands flat on the wall. And what you'll find is your feet want to go out like that the closer you get. And you're really trying to stop that movement. So you're trying to get nice and close. And that's about my limit. So in the other room I've actually got some lines on the floor because I know that's my kind of benchmark of where I should be able to get to. But yeah, that's another nice easy one to do, and you can see you can do that with your kids as well, and you can all have a go. The other test that you can do to see what your ankle flexion's like is see how far away from the wall you can get, your foot can be, and then bending your knee towards the wall and see how far away you can get it before you can't get it to touch the wall. Now, the actual amount of flex, the amount of flex isn't too important. What's important is the difference between your 2 feet. So if you've got, for me, I know my right flexion is not as good, so I'm struggling there, whereas that one's okay. So my right flexion isn't as good as my left. So that's something we need to work on. So that imbalance is going to change your stride length and affect things like that. So that imbalance is what you want to try and work on, and doing the things that we showed you before on the mat is a good way to help with that, as is doing the normal strengthening as well.
And the test itself is also a good exercise, isn't it?
Yeah.
Flexing your knee to the wall.
Yeah, just doing that test, just doing that movement as well is a good way to help with that flexion. Okay. So we've given you a few different things to do. So we started off by sitting on our feet, and then Kim was showing you the sitting in the squatting position. Then we did the calf raises, just standing calf raises, 2-footed, moving up to single foot unsupported, and then we did against the wall, so trying to see how close you can get your toes to the wall before you can't lift up anymore, through your big toes. Always remember it's all through your big toes. And then we also did the ankle flexation against the wall as well. So yeah, that should give you a few different things to try. Like we say, you can do them anywhere throughout the day as well. Anything else to add, Kim?
I don't think so. Again, if you know you roll over on your ankles a lot and you feel sore in them quite a lot, those are some good exercises to start doing regularly, daily if you can, doing some knee to the wall stuff. Doing the stuff on the floor. That's easy to fit into your day, but a few times a week would be a really good idea for anyone that runs, really. If
you can do those 2 or 3 times a day, every single day, just for a couple of minutes, that's going to make a real big difference to you. So yeah, let us know how you get on, and thank you for watching, and thank you for those that subscribed to the channel, and if you haven't and you would like to, then please go ahead, and you'll get links and notifications to these videos coming up. And we look forward to seeing you on the next session. Thank you.